Cam here, and today I'm going to be answering the question, how long does it take to heal erectile dysfunction? So I'll talk a little bit about my own personal journey with it and what I think is a reasonable expectation for most men that are dealing with this, and we'll talk about some real numbers too. So if this video gives you something, if you get something out of it, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you can keep up to date with what's happening. And I also do some one-on-one coaching with men who have ED, so if you're looking for help with that, there's a link down below to get a hold of me. Stick around. Hi there, Cam from No Pills, No Surgery, and today I'm going to answer a question that I get asked quite a lot, which is how long is it going to take for me to heal my ED? And I'll start off by answering how long it took me. So I struggled with this for about 7 years. I want to start off by saying it's not going to take most people to overcome this problem. It's not going to take nearly that long. I will get into some numbers, some exact numbers towards the end, but I want to go into a little bit more about a good way to look at this problem. So a good way to look at this problem is if you were to go to the gym and you were to find a trainer and you were to say, I want to have a six-pack, how long is it going to take me to have a six-pack? And the answer to that question is going to depend on, like, how's your lifestyle been? How often have you been working out? What does your current diet look like? And so if you've been working out every day and your diet is pretty clean and you've got a few years of training under your belt and you just need to make some minor tweaks to your diet and maybe add a couple exercises and maybe a little bit more cardio or something like that, then the trainer might tell you it's going to take you a month, maybe 2 months. And if you come in and you haven't been eating well, you haven't exercised in 10 years, and you're a couple 100 pounds overweight, the answer is going to be very different. Might take you years. So I wish I had a magical solution where I could say, here, take this pill and it's magically going to be better. But I can tell you that I spent a lot of time and a lot of money on solutions like that, and none of them worked. So I'm going to teach you on this channel how to do things the hard way, which is really the easy way because it's the way that actually works. ED, overcoming ED when it's a mental issue, it's really about confidence. There's typically very deep insecurities there that need to be dealt with, and you've built a lot of things around your life in order to protect that insecurity. So when I say it requires confidence to overcome it, what I'm really talking about is there's a specific type of confidence that it requires, and that is a confidence that comes from inside you. And I used to roll my eyes at people when they would say shit like that because it's just like, oh yeah, okay. But after being somebody who really went through the ringer with this problem, I can tell you that it's unfortunately it's true. I think most of us in our lives have met somebody or know somebody or we're friends with somebody who has fake confidence where they're like, yeah, I'm so good at life and look at me. And then you can just tell that they're really fucking insecure. And I can tell you that there's ways that that's helpful in life, but when you're trying to overcome this problem, that shit's not going to cut it. Overcoming challenging things is the best way to create this kind of confidence. Doing things that aren't easy, and there really isn't a shortcut for this. I spent a lot of time trying to do things the easy way, and at the end of the day, it cost me more time. I spent years living in a monastery, and there's I think it's a story from Zen, but it's definitely a Buddhist story, where a student comes to a Zen master, and says, how long will it take me to reach enlightenment? And the teacher says, 10 years. And the student said, well, what if I work really hard and really throw myself in? And the teacher says, oh, it'll take you 20 years. And it's just one of those things where for me, I tried to find all the easy ways. I looked at what are the shortcuts? How can I get there as quickly as possible? And then the truth is that because I was doing that, I wasn't doing the things that were necessary in order to actually deal with the problem. So the other thing I want to say about confidence is something you probably wouldn't expect me to talk about in an ED video, but it's about what comes out of the confidence from overcoming ED. because I can tell you for most of my life, I was not a very confident person. And now I am pretty confident in most things that I do. ED was so challenging for me, and it took me to the depths of who I was. Like, it put me on the edge of suicide, and it literally bankrupted me. I basically walked away from like a really prominent IT career where I was making a lot of money, and I threw every dime that I had made in that career at trying to solve this problem because it was just tearing me apart. And the confidence that's come out of overcoming that is it's really hard to explain. It's not something that I have to work for. It's not something that requires effort. It's just there. And so a lot of the guys that I work with, a lot of my students, they get really confused by the fact that I don't feel sorry for them when they have ED, when they talk about how hard it is. Like, I don't pity them. I think that for me, it sounds terrible, but ED is probably the best thing that's ever happened to me. Because if I hadn't had something that was so painful that I had to really go deep into myself and like find that inner strength, I probably would have ended up killing myself. And I probably would have lived a very boring life that would have left me kind of meaningless and wandering. But because I had this humongous challenge that I had to rise to, I found out so much about who I am as a person, and it really pushed me towards doing the things that are important to me. So I don't feel sorry for you. I am so happy that this has happened to you um, because you're going to learn so much about yourself. You have the opportunity um, to grow in a way that you wouldn't have otherwise, and the types of relationships that you're going to have because of having to face this problem are going to be so much more meaningful and deep. And when I look back at ED, I can't believe like the amount of gifts that it gave me compared to the amount of struggle I went through. It seems unfair. Like, I got so many more gifts out of it than the pain that I had to go through. So you're in that same boat, and I know where you're at right now. That probably sounds like really hard to believe. And most of my students, when I talk to them at the beginning, I tell them this, they don't believe me. And then by the end of it, they're like, okay, I get what you're talking about. It makes complete sense because it's a beautiful growth that's required to overcome this, and that confidence is part of it. So there are some other things that you can do that are a little bit easier and quicker to deal with your confidence issues. And the first one is just physical appearance. We're talking about something that's relationships, and it's relating to your interactions with other people. So feeling more attractive and being more attractive to them is going to be helpful to you. I remember that I had grown my hair out for a couple of years. I had just gotten to a point where I wasn't really dating, and so I didn't really take care of myself well. And I had grown my hair down, and then eventually I got a haircut, and I cut my hair down to very similar to how it is now. And just the overwhelming positive response that I got from everyone in my life, it was like shocking to me, and it was just an infinite confidence, yeah, instant confidence boost. And so physical appearance does take in, it does make some difference, and that doesn't mean that you have to be the most attractive person in the world. You just have to take care of yourself. Show people care about effort. When you're looking for somebody, when you want to be with someone, like, just showing them that you care enough about yourself to take care of yourself is something that is sexy to people. You don't have to be, insert attractive celebrity here to overcome this problem or to have confidence. You just do as well as you can with what you got. I'm not the best looking guy in the world, but I do all right. I'm pretty happy. I have a really beautiful, incredibly smart, funny, talented woman upstairs that I get to spend my life with. And it's not because I'm the most attractive guy in the world. It's because of who I am as a person. And so that brings us to the next thing, and that's just, how do you value yourself? I know for most of my adult life, I placed very little value on myself. And I thought, it sounds weird, but when I was looking at relationships, I felt like I would have to trick someone into wanting to be with me. even though I had counter evidence to this. I'd had a really long term girlfriend in college and after college, and I had other women interested in me, but there was still always some weird part of me that felt broken. And that was even before the ED really showed up in my life. So, if you feel that way, and I know a lot of my students feel that way, it's common, but it's also, you have to find a way to overcome that, because your value, how other people value you, is in a lot of ways going to be reflected in how you value yourself. And if you don't see that your own strengths, it's really easy to focus on your own weaknesses. But if you can't recognize your own strengths, it's going to be harder for other people to do that. So, this is a much deeper topic. If it's something that you'd like me to make a video on, leave a comment down below and I'll be happy to do that. The next thing is just your vocation, what you do for work. I can tell you from personal experience, not having a job crushed my confidence. Even with my partner, who she's been with me for almost 2 years now, and I didn't have a job for a period of time that we were together. And even though she loved me and supported me, it's just, there was some part of me that just did not operate well. And so for some people, it's just a matter of having an income. Like, are you able to pay your bills and go out to dinner every once in a while when you want to? Other people that are like me, there's a deeper level to it, where for me, just having a job and paying my bills isn't enough. Doing something that's really meaningful to me is important. I used to be a VMware admin, which is just a fancy IT job where I used to make a lot of money. And I had a very respected job at a large car company. And I'd risen just about as high as I could go in that type of industry. But I was working really long hours, and I really did love the software. I loved what I did, but it just slowly became more and more obvious that it didn't have any meaning to me. And so I realized that I needed to do something more meaningful. And during the time that I left IT until I'm doing what I am now, or like living at the monastery, I had a really internal crisis about like finding something that was meaningful to do and something that I really believed in. And so for some of you, this may be the issue. If you are not one of these people, it makes your life a lot easier. You have a lot more options. If all you need to do is pay your bills, and then you can find that meaning in something that's outside of your vocation, that's great. But this also leads to another point of like, that's a really big thing for confidence. I have a lot of people in my life that are very confident. And one of the things that they all share, and they really share, like, when I say confident, I mean real confidence, not that really deeply insecure shit that's just masked with a bunch of layers of fake confidence, but people who are really confident. And the thing that I've noticed about all of them is that they're all pursuing something that they care about. And that doesn't mean that they do it for their job. Some of them do, some of them don't. But they all have a passion, something that's really meaningful and like gets them fired up and, really brings them to life. And for me, when I was going through all this, I didn't have that. I liked IT. It was very intellectually satisfying, but I'll never say that I was passionate about it. I knew it would make me good money. I knew that it would change my lifestyle, but I didn't care about it in a way that was like, felt like it was really deep in me. I cared about it while I was doing it, but and over the course of going through that and healing my ED, like it really unlocked a lot of like deeper questions for me about what is important to me and like what is meaningful. And I realized that there was a lot of things that I cared about that I just wasn't taking action on. I wasn't doing. And it's so hurtful to your confidence to do that for a couple reasons. One, because in general, not doing that, it subtracts from your confidence. So on one side, you're losing confidence by not doing those things, but then also doing them also gains you a ton of confidence because you just feel better. It makes you feel alive when you have something that you really care about and you really want to like do well at and like explore and something that just captivates you. It just brings you to life. And the confidence that comes out of that is just, it's hard to mistake. It's hard to like really it's something that when you see it in someone, you just know, you don't need it to be described to you. So this is another way that you can work with the confidence. And then, do you have a partner? Is there somebody that you already like? If you can just go have sex right now, if you wanted to, like assuming it was, if you can go try, your journey to this is going to be much quicker. And so, those are all factors that go into it. And the last thing is just kind of personal style. If you're somebody who is really risk averse and you like to take a lot of time to learn about something before you do it, it's going to take you longer than if you're somebody who's just really courageous and just like, fuck it, I'm going to try this. So all those things really go into it. Now I'm going to get to numbers. So the fastest I've had a client overcome this problem is a little bit less than a month. So in this situation, this person they were in college, so the employment thing wasn't really a big deal. They were doing something that they were passionate about. They had a partner that they were with that was already aware of the problem. They'd already had some minor conversations about it, but they hadn't really faced it. They weren't addicted to porn anymore. They'd kind of put that behind them. And there's just, they had basically kind of the perfect situation of everything that could go right. When I get clients like this, about a month to 2 months is reasonable. I usually tell them to guess about 3 months, just because sometimes things do come up and sometimes there's some uncovered things that aren't as obvious on the surface. I have people who've gone the other way, or who've been working with them for half a year and they're still in progress. And it just really comes down to like, what have you done before? Where are you already at? What steps are you willing to take? And how willing are you to do the uncomfortable things that are required to heal this? And so if you're asking this question, the way I would really look at it for you, because I don't know where you are, you're all at different places, I would count on it might take you a year. And the question is like, are you willing to do the things that are required to overcome this problem? Like if you look at yourself 1 year from today and you say, what do I want future me's life to be like? And am I willing to do the things that are required to make future me happy? Then I think almost any situation in a year, people will overcome it. I think that most people, if you have a good job, if you have everything except for you don't have a person that you can have sex with because you've been avoiding sex, because a lot of men do that, I think 3 to 6 months is a more reasonable thing. If you have a partner that's already in your life, you already have an established emotional connection with this person, then it's one of those things where it can happen very, very, very quickly. And then it's everything. There's kind of everything in between. So I hope that answers your question. If this brought up any other specific questions, then go ahead and leave a comment down below. And it'd be really helpful if you could like this video and subscribe if it did some good for you. And also, my main business is I work with men one-on-one. If you are someone who's been struggling with this problem and you're just absolutely at the end of your ropes and you really want help and you really want to do this in a meaningful way, throw yourself into it, I do have a few spots available with men that I work with. So there's a link down below in how you can get a hold of me. And just to say, I really am choosy about who I work with, because if you're coming to me to work on this, I am going to throw everything that I have behind you. I'm going to care about you. I'm going to help you in every way that I can, but I'm not going to help people who aren't willing to help themselves. So if you're willing to take action and you're really ready to make the steps that are necessary to put this problem in the past, then great, get a hold of me. And if not, that's okay. These videos are to help you get there. The more times you watch things like this, the more they'll help you get there. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week for another video.